Okay, this lesson for the Koine Project class asks and then attempts to answer and give a rationale for how is our pre-trib rapture, and where I was raised and trained all the way back to 1972, a movie called A Thief in the Night. And if you ever watched a video as a child with adults there at the church house, and that was the source of your doctrine, the authority, if you want to know what the truth was, and then watching a video, which was quite remarkable to see it play out before your eyes. And what happened here in 1948, the new Israeli state, 1972, Thief of the Night. So for me and those contemporaries of mine, we were alerted and alarmed that at any moment Jesus could come and we'd be taken away. So I didn't really know to have a problem, nor did I know to have glee or excitement. It was about urgency, and I respected the older people and the youth workers wanting to impress upon us the urgency to trust Christ for everlasting life. Don't put off today for tomorrow, and things like that. That was very good. I had no problem with that. It's just when you're trained that way, and then 88 Reasons Why in 1988 arose, and you can download a copy of that still online PDF, and you can read that. And that's based on 40 years from 1948. So at this time, rapture, the only idea of rapture had very little to do with tribulation. One time someone said, well, after we're gone, the world will go to hell in a handbasket. Things will break out, tribulation, eventually the Antichrist will appear, all these things. But we had no idea, like me, 2023, I'm still here because in the way we were trained and taught and conditioned and alerted, then by 1995, Left Behind book series comes out. You notice Ussher, the chronographer that's used for dating the scriptures, he said the world would end in 1996. So Left Behind book comes out in 1996. Newton had said 2060. 2028, as we just observed the numbers, is 80 years from 1948, because we keep pushing that 40 years, 70, and with strength maybe 80 years. So we go here. Well, we also noticed Newton was 32 years over this, and Ussher was 32 years under, and Jesus' arrival was in 32 AD. So that was interesting. But again, year 2000, Y2K came and went. 9/11 came and went. We're now in a global war on terror. We have a global pandemic, global civil unrest. All of our computers are supposed to shut down, and all and then in 2020, August 13th, 2020, the United Arab Emirates Israeli Treaty, and perhaps some have supposed that is the beginning of what they would call a 7-year tribulation, and I don't know. I can't speak for them. But I remind you of our text, 2 Thessalonians 2:13, that we did recently, showing that God preferred you all unto salvation away from beginning, and we noticed in the context it was of tribulation. So I wrote that out, away from beginning of tribulation. Now that away from this direction, and I call your attention to this note. Dr. Bob Wilkin had done some work on 1290 days, saying that there could be a 30-day interval between the time we're, quote, raptured and the 7-year period begins. But what I'm wanting to iterate and just point out was we'd never were taught that we'd be that close to it, because we were always taught to look around, see the signs, what's going on, and watch the Middle East and see when they begin to lay the cornerstone and, things like that. And either that will be in this period of time and we're not here anyway, or it'll begin and then we'll leave as that goes on for, it looks like it's close to 30 days. But I want my rapture back, because as people would come to our congregation, they'd be talking about Left Behind or Y2K or 9/11 or other events. And I said, well, you should have been here in 72 when we were talking about the thief in the night. And I've sat through sermons where the preacher would unashamedly say that before this message is over, we could be gone. And that's fine. I still have no problem with what they were saying. I had no problem with the urgency and life is short and all that. It's just, I don't see that urgency. I don't notice it much. Children are hard to alarm. Attention's hard to apprehend. Sometimes it has become so sensationalized that people are cynical, desensitized. But I can tell you, if you were here at a church house then, blue laws were still in effect, so everything was closed on the Lord's Day. Everyone, quote, went to church. You're supposed to, if you remember a community with a consensus of morality like that. And when you were taught something, you paid attention. And I remember even on a Lord's Day, while we were in church one Sunday, these 88 Reasons Why and 88 were being distributed and placed on car windshields in the parking lot at the church house. So I thought that was interesting. And then, of course, when this came out. But you notice a lot's happened, and then look where we're at now. So if we did the arithmetic, we would know if we come back 7 years from Newton, just because we have the numbers, then that's 2053. And then if we came back 7 years from this, that's 2021. So if it's away from the beginning, then this won't work here, coming this direction. And then if it's there, you come back this way, then it looks like everybody's pointing to where we're at now. We're at the margin of error. The margin of error. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. We're in the margin of error era. And it looks like it is very rational and reasonable that we could be on the threshold of 30 days prior to, which from my view, back here looking that way, that was far too far away, and far too many things have happened that have found us under global terrorism. East versus is attacking the West. COVID-19. I mean, we've seen unprecedented things, and in our society, we've seen social disorder like we've never known. So that was it. I was just wanting to point it out that we have a text and a case, and we have numbers. 1290 days. You come this way. Remember, Oppo, away from the beginning. So here would be the beginning. Come away from it. Could be as close to 30 days, but that was still difficult for me. So when someone says, well, we won't be any part of it, I'm like, I know, but I was always curious why we're still here. When they talked about Y2K and all the computers are shut down, planes would fall from the sky, I said, well, we're not supposed to be here. And when people were saying, well, maybe this is it, I was like, it can't be, because in the way now I'm talking about the way I was conditioned, habituated, and taught, it can't be, because we're still here. We're still here. We're still here. We're still here. So now we've still been here for so long now that I don't even know if I'll be alive. But for younger people who are being born into the last days of the last day age, they definitely are coming up on a threshold. And that was it. I just want to point out several things. You can read about all these things. If you've never seen the movie Thief in the Night, the video, it's still available, especially on YouTube. You can still download PDF this. You can always read about this. You can go and look this up yourself. You can read about Newton, this prediction. You can notice the symmetry, how one's plus 32, one's minus 32. You can notice the date, 2028, 2000, Y2K, 9/11, 2020. You remember George Sr. was talking about a new world order 10 years prior to 9/11. And then George Jr. was there when it took place and triggered what we know today. So you have a blessed day, but notice there is a text, there is a case here, and that's what was being discussed as tribulation. There is an away from beginning, which would be here, and if that's the rationale for these 30 days being prior to it, it's a very good as far as a text and as far as a rationale for it. Other than that, I was anywhere after, well, I was really alerted here, let's say. My eyes were wide open here, so I was ready to go anytime wondering why I was still here this whole time. So it's a good state of mind. No one was harmed by parents teaching that, and no one was hurt with preachers saying we may not be here by the end of this message. And it was true. I've actually been in services where people were having to be removed and hospitalized because an event would take place, a stroke, heart attack. So that's immediate reality for all of us. And then the immediate imminence, I think was the word. The imminence of it was very much scripted. It was very much taught and expected, and I knew they meant what they said. They weren't trying to just frighten us. They were alarming us. So you have a blessed day, but I want my rapture back. I want the one back where I'd have been gone anywhere before any of this. I wanted to be I didn't know I'd be in a world like this, but that's enough of my own personal testimony. I just wanted to give you this and show you why some people may think now, well, we're in it. That would not match away from the beginning. And if you just do a little arithmetic, you'll notice that some of this won't work out in light of what we have as far as the number of days, the 7 years, the 30 days, this direction. So anyway, have a blessed day. Enjoy your studies, but be prepared always. If you haven't trusted Jesus Christ for everlasting life, that's his decree that everyone who's trusting him for everlasting life is already having everlasting life. So you have a blessed day.